the way we grew up is like, it's hard to even explain. It's the violence, bro. The violence, when you have violence on that high or on that extravagant of a level, everybody's going to pay attention. You have to be that violent, man. It's just like, this is war. And that's like how it is in prison.
We got a good one today, you guys. My guest is Matty Boy. He is the hottest up-and-coming rapper in the Bay Area. He's from a little town called Rodeo. This dude is a gangster. Before he started rapping, he was the creator of Fame, the family-affiliated Irish mafia. They're an offshoot of the Aryan Brotherhood prison gang and are one of the most notorious and violent Irish street gangs in America. This dude has an incredible journey. He started off selling crystal meth at the age of 13. By the age of 20, he was shot calling and gangbanging in prison. He caught a huge federal dope case in 2004, went away and did 10 in the feds, came home. He's been rapping ever since. And yo, this dude is nice. Go check out his music. We've never had anyone like this on the podcast. You're going to love this episode. Go check us out for bonus content over at patreon.com/theconnectshow. Without further ado, it is my great pleasure to give you Matty Boy right here on The Connect with Johnny Mitchell.
The crazy part about it, man, is that we grew up around every day. The betrayals, the lifestyle, the seeing my parents as best friends become their enemies. And bro, when your whole life is used to the nastiest parts of everything, you become numb.
That's when I see lights behind me start to flash. And I didn't even think, I just hit it. I was driving like my life depended on it. And then I parked the car, hopped out, closed the door, and I started running.
And he pulls out a burner, shank, it's like 6 inches. And he passes it to me. And he goes, here, that's yours. Don't ever leave the cell block without this. He was the reason I made it out of that place alive.
Everybody drinks coffee. That's the first time I seen black people drink coffee was in prison.
Oh, and they were strung out on that.
Oh, they would drink it before bed.
Yeah.
I had this one cellie. He was like, man, I can't sleep without this. I'm like, I'm pretty sure these are like the wrong drugs.
Yeah.
Those are supposed to be opioids that help you go to sleep,
It's
not caffeine.
The adverse effect.
Yeah.
How some people do the uppers and it goes down. And
Right. Well, that's what cocaine does to a lot of people that are hyperactive.
I don't know if you've seen White Bricks, but that was me in
What is that?
Cocaine Mode, the song.
Oh,
One of
no.
my songs.
Okay. Well, first let's talk about that. I mean, Matty, I don't take a lot of white rap seriously. I'm from the old school. I see a white guy rapping.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up, but you're really good.
Man, I grew up on that kind of music. My whole life was oldies, Motown. Like, it wasn't until I was, man, probably when I came home from state prison where like the country started getting like mixed in. Like the older my father got, the more he liked country. But when we were kids, it was all
Country
soulful
music.
music in my house. Marvin Gaye,
Right.
Temptations, all that type of stuff. It was never.
Well,
I mean, Willie Nelson. I think Willie Nelson was the only one that the artist that I ever heard about that wasn't like black.
But you grew up in a white Irish American tiny little neighborhood in the Northeast Bay, the Bay Area, San Francisco, Oakland. Then you go north. There's Vallejo, and then you're from a little town called Rodeo.
Rodeo.
Like Rodeo Drive in
Like
Beverly Hills.
Exactly like Rodeo Drive.
But nothing like Rodeo Drive, though.
No. But it wasn't there wasn't a community of us. It was like once we made it like maybe popular or whatever, then everybody started. It was like, I think it's cool to be Irish or something. Like there was that little phase where
Right.
But
Well, I think it gives white people an ethnicity.
yeah.
Right? Like, I'm Irish. It
It's
gives
like an
it gives-
identity or something.
Totally. It's
Yeah.
like how Italians can be able to say, I'm Italian, right? But
Yeah.
in reality, you know.
But my dad was like infatuated with being Irish, man. It was like, that's something that he took a lot of pride in. So like, we obviously carried that with us as well. You know, it was like being Irish and just like everything that came with it, reading about our history and all that, just like gave us something to be proud of, man. You know what I mean? So then our influence started influencing others. So it's not, I don't want to say that Rodeo is any kind of Irish community because I would be misleading people.
Is it a black community?
No, Rodeo is just like, now it's just like, it's like a rundown town, man. It's parts of it still look nice. Like where we lived up on the hill was a nice area. But like when my mom bought that house, it was 50 grand.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you got like the projects over there by the refinery. And then like the nicer parts of Rodeo would be like Viewpoint, places up there by the school, the little Hillcrest School or whatever. But it was like I feel like my mom and my dad brought a lot of the crazy to Rodeo. Like once upon a time, I feel like Rodeo was probably a nice little town.
Well, it's fascinating because it's in the same area as San Francisco and Silicon Valley, one of the richest places in the world. But then the suburbs, the northeastern suburbs, are pretty hood.
Yeah.
You know, like Richmond, Vallejo, these birthed, you know, the best gangster rappers that we grew up with.
Yeah, but bro, like when I was driving through here, like a lot of how it looks, like if you was to drive through Richmond and then drive through these places, it would look almost identical.
You can't tell and it's hard to tell from the outside that it's a slum because the sun's always shining. You know, everybody's got like a small, nice little house on a piece of land, but the murder rate is insane.
Yeah.
Drug dealing, rampant.
The drugs, bro. The drugs were major in that area because of the bikers too. I feel like the bikers had a big influence right there. And then like, so my dad came home from prison in 1976 and tried to work and do the normal life and then jumped right back into everything. So like that whole meth trade was something that my brother and I grew up on. So all the I don't know, the criminal lifestyle and all that type of shit was something that was very centered in where we was growing up.
All right. So your dad was a drug dealer. Was he a biker as well?
Well, my dad was a biker, but he was more like, so my dad went to prison in 69, got out in 76. So he was around when like the prison gangs really started flourishing. So my dad's ties were to the white prison gangs, but then he came out and started affiliating with some of the biker clubs or whatever and people that were affiliated with them. And then
who are the biker clubs in the East Bay?
The Hells Angels.
What about Mongols?
No, I don't think that, I don't think we have them up there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
They're like kind of a more Latino biker gang.
Yeah. And I think they're beefing with them guys too. So the territory thing is probably something that is sketchy. You know what I mean? Like, you guys ain't going to come up here and start a biker club because we're whatever they are.
Hells Angels are mostly white. They're a white biker gang. We have them in Oregon, Washington, and California. They're in kind of that like central part of the state from Redding, you know, through the East Bay all the way down to
San Francisco, Oakland, Richmond,
down to parts of like Modesto. Right. And it's fascinating because they're completely out of sight from like high profile criminal groups. Yeah. You don't really hear a lot about them. You hear about the Sinaloa cartel every other day in the news. Yeah. You hear about, you know, black gangbangers in, you know, urban neighborhoods, but this is like the biker gangs. They're suburban, but they're almost rural. They're in these little small places like Rodeo, which is an unincorporated community, by the way.
Well, I think it's maybe the sophisticated criminal outlook or something. You know, we're not criminals is their attitude. Right. You know, we're a club. So they don't want to probably get to that kind of reputation. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a little late. We all...
Yeah. So
I think they've got the reputation for it.
Yeah. But I'm talking about constantly in the news. It's kind of more like something where the bad reputation that they used to have, I feel like they was trying to shy away from that a little bit and make it look more sophisticated or something. And this is just me assuming, you know what I mean? From the outside looking in, I ain't never had somebody.
I think you're right. I think you're right. They're probably trying to go more mainstream. Yeah. Like we're not a gang.
And
we're
started
a club.
Bringing in normal people that work every day. Oh, really? You know what I mean? That have 9-to-5s to where I'm sure back in the beginning, it was like rebels.
Yeah. We're 1%ers.
Hell yeah.
We're literally
people that are doing what we want to do.
We call ourselves 1%ers. We are the 1% of bike gangs who commit crime.
Exactly. So, and I feel like they slowly started transitioning it into like, bringing people in that are like normal citizens.
That makes sense.
Not to keep like beating the dead dog with the biker things, but my mom was married to a Hell's Angel. So in the Laughlin thing, when that whole like serious beef thing kicked off, my mom's husband allegedly is the guy that threw the kick.
I don't even know about that.
So the Laughlin, there was a big Hell's Angel Mongol beef. I think people died. They had a shootout in the casino.
Laughlin, Texas or
no, it was in
Oklahoma?
like where the
Laughlin?
3 points meet. It's like Nevada, California,
right.
and somewhere else, right? Arizona.
Oh,
So-
okay. Wow. Dude, there's always, it seems like every few years in these places like that. But I remember, I think, Brian, if you could look this up, I think it was Arkansas
Oh yeah.
or Texas. There was a huge like movie scene shootout in a bar where like 20 people got killed.
No, I heard about that. That was like on a bigger scale. But I think like this was like their regular run down there. It was like the Laughlin run or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had family members down there, bro. You know, obviously my mom's husband was down there too, but these fools, bro.
But back in the day, it was pure outlaw.
Oh yeah.
And so those were the cats that your dad was running with.
Yeah.
So he went to prison when you were just a little boy?
No, I wasn't born.
Oh, okay.
So he went to prison in 69, came home in 76, and he had a life sentence. But somebody came through and changed it and made the system give everybody determinate sentences, like give people dates.
Oh, right. So it wasn't, you couldn't get 15 to life.
Yeah,
You'd have
just
to get
for
a
a little while.
specific, right.
So now they brought them life things back, but for a little while they gave everybody dates, and my dad came home.
So you completely grew up in this culture.
Yeah,
This outlaw culture.
bro. It was like even like driving down here when I was thinking about what we was going to talk about. It was like the way we grew up is like it's hard to even explain, because I downplay a lot of this. Like I'll be like, oh yeah, I was selling pounds of meth regularly, but it was like that wasn't no thing to me because it was what I seen my entire life. It was drug dealing, bro. Nobody worked.
Yeah. And that's primarily how the Hells Angels back then funded themselves, was selling ice.
Sure, yeah.
Selling meth.
Meth
Yeah.
was the crank days.
It was the crank days. So this is before Mexican ice that's dominates the market now, right?
Well, I think that's the only thing that's on the market now.
Probably.
Right?
But this is back when crank was made by white boys. and
Yeah,
cooks.
hell yeah, bikers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did
Hell
your dad,
yeah.
was he a meth cook?
No, but
Or he was just a distributor?
he was a distributor, but he knew the meth cooks. You know what I mean? Like the big dogs that were supplying everybody. I mean, these fools once upon a time, bro, was buying 100-pound barrels of ephedrine to cut with their dope before they realized that they could make the dope with the ephedrine. They was cutting that with the prope dope was getting cut with the that we make with what they make it with today.
So how much would a pound of that kind of biker dope cost, like at wholesale?
Bro, I don't know. I know back in them days, the crank seemed like it was a lot more expensive.
Really?
Yeah. So it was like, I don't know, 10 grand, I would say, or something.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
That is more expensive. I think I read that like a pound of like meth from Mexico wholesale now is like 5,000.
It's not even that.
Well, that's crazy.
No.
I guess it's because they can make more of it. They have a greater supply of it. Where when you're cooking it out in the desert, Walter White style.
Yeah, when you got one person trying to cook dope for everybody, all the whole people, it's like you could imagine.
Yeah.
But when you got hundreds of people, thousands of people, everybody's
when you
probably
have factories
cooking.
down in Mexico making it, it's going to drop the price.
Of course. I mean, they were giving it away, bro.
This episode is sponsored by Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. It's just you against the numbers. You pick more than or less than 2 to 6 players' stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. I love Prize Picks. We are in the height of basketball season. March Madness is coming up. In my opinion, and this is the best time to be firing on action. It's demon time as well on Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000 easily. Prize Picks is really simple to play. I can make my picks and submit my entry in less than 60 seconds. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what make Prize Picks the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Prize Picks is one of the best ways to put a little bit of cash down and bubble up a lot. I've had so much fun watching basketball, especially, okay? With the second half of the season in full swing and the playoffs coming into picture, I'm looking at Prize Picks projected stats and putting some money down. Jimmy Butler with 24.5 points against the Celtics. Jimmy Buckets is a beast, but against the best defense in the league, I'm definitely picking less. That's how easy it is. You see what I'm saying? Go to prizepicks.com/connect and use code CONNECT for a first deposit match up to $100. Once again, that's prizepicks.com/connect and use code CONNECT, CONNECT, for a first deposit match up to $100. I can't describe to you how easy it is to make money. I mean, we just showed you right there. Pick Jimmy Butler to make less than 24.5 points against a certain team. I mean, it's that easy and it's that fun, and it's renewed by love of sports. So I mean, we love Prize Picks, and so should you. Go over to prizepicks.com/connect, get that promo code, get that bonus, start playing right now. Thank you. Let's get back into the episode. So at the same time that crack was exploding in black neighborhoods, meth was huge in these little white towns, these little white ancillary towns.
And that's probably what happened to Rodeo. How I tell you, Rodeo ain't nothing like it used to be. Crank came through there and just wiped it out. You know, normal people, like people that work every day, started tweaking, and the next thing you know, their house is a tweak house. And
you think meth is worse than crack? Was there any crossover with cocaine in the white community during that time, or was it strictly ice?
Crank, bro.
Crank.
Everybody was selling crank.
Why do you think that is? I always find that interesting. Why, you have these two powerful uppers, crack and crank, but crank was exclusively in white communities. And crack was like almost exclusively in black communities.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, to this day, and I've used a lot of drugs, but to this day, crack is the only drug I've never used.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It seems bizarre to me, but, yeah, I don't know. It's why crack never.
What maybe it was because back then, and I'm just literally guessing, could it be because dealers, older suppliers like your father, didn't want to deal with black drug dealers, and therefore it never made it into the market?
Oh, I'm sure. I didn't even think about that, but at first I was going to say crank was a white drug, but cocaine in powder form is like the ultimate.
An everybody drug.
Yeah, it's everybody drug. So maybe because crack was like the cut down version of crank or of coke, it was like the people that didn't have more money could afford the coke, beat it up with baking soda, and be able to sell it down there. And
right. But white people could have done the same thing.
They could have done, but how would you look in the projects doing that? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I look back on it. It's something that I think about all the time. I'm like, man, why didn't we ever try to sell cocaine? Because all the ties that we had, I mean, I feel like there was somebody that had to have been like, oh yeah, I could get as much cocaine as we need. But maybe it was the accessibility of like how accessible crank was for us was the reason that we didn't need cocaine to make money.
Right. So would you say that you were more influenced by white, rural, Irish American biker culture than you were by black culture?
No, I think I was influenced by prison gang culture. Because when I was growing up, bro, like the pictures on my wall weren't athletes. They weren't artists. They weren't movie stars. It was Barry Mills or somebody, you know what I mean? Like the upper echelon of real gangsters, bro.
Can you tell us who Barry Mills is?
Barry Mills is like the top dog of the Aryan Brotherhood, but
I think he recently died.
He did.
Yeah, and he's from one of these little northern
Hell yeah.
Bay communities. He's from, what is the town he's from?
I can't remember, bro, but I've tripped on it.
Dude, I went down an Aryan Brotherhood, we'll call it the brand because we don't want to offend anybody. I went down a rabbit hole and I Googled where this guy's from. He's from like a leafy little town, picturesque town called Windsor, by Sausalito. This is where like Napa Valley, like rich people go now. But those little towns birthed this, you could call it racist or, white nationalistic, whatever it was, this prison gang culture. And it's just so, and yeah, you're right. It's tied to meth dealing and biker gangs and prison. That's what connects this little like ecosystem.
Yeah. And like me and my brothers, like outlooks on people and was heavily influenced by my father. So the people that my father respected was like the people that we looked up to, obviously, you know what I mean? So we grew up hearing about these dudes in prison and it was just like, we was infatuated with it, man. It was like,
normal.
Yeah.
Was your father racist? Like outwardly racist?
I mean, bro, my dad grew up in the worst parts of California. So he was the only white dude in the neighborhood. You know what I mean? So he grew up getting abused, bro. You know what I mean? And this is just the stories he told us. And then he gets to prison where their enemies are black. You know what I mean? It's just like, but like growing up, my dad wasn't like, oh no, don't bring this black dude to my house. You know what I mean? It wasn't never like that.
No.
Which I think a lot of people, it's easy to call white people racist these days, bro, to discredit them or whatever. And I get it every day because of who I'm affiliated with. But my dad didn't push that on us. So it wasn't like we grew up being raised to hate other races. It was like we was growing up just to make money.
Right.
Like hate wasn't talked about in my family.
Yeah. And I think the brand actually was conceived in prison as a way to defend themselves against the black prison gangs, like the Black Guerrilla Family and these other, I think the Serranos and the Norteños. And that's how a lot of gangs start, just as like a way to defend yourself in these places. Yeah.
And the treachery that them dudes, I mean, look, everybody's going to talk bad about them, call them racist and all that. But what they did for white people is like in prison is like, you got to respect it because people think twice about with white people because of the dirt that they've done.
Oh, I mean, and it's terrifying when you see how ruthless the brand is.
And you have to be. How many people are in the brand in comparison to the other gangs?
A tiny fraction.
So it's like, I've heard on some of them serious institutions, bro, you get there's 4 or 5 white dudes on the yard. Yeah. So how do you think you have to carry yourself? Yeah. You know what I mean? The whole racism thing is just like, it's one of them things that like gets under my skin because in my situation, I feel like that's an easy way for people to discredit me. Sure. You know what I mean? To kind of kill my vibe. Oh, he's a racist.
Well, it's not even you. It's everybody. It's an attack that's used. It can be used on anybody nowadays. So it's just kind of like calling somebody anti-Semitic because they don't want Israel to keep bombing a bunch of helpless people in Gaza. Yeah. It's just it's an easy attack. It's a way to malign somebody and attack somebody without getting to know who they are.
Right.
So when's the first time that you started getting active?
In selling drugs or the gang?
Both. And it's just the dirt game.
Oh my God, bro. So I think I stabbed somebody when I was 13 years old for like the dude allegedly drove past my sister when she was getting arrested and laughed at her while she was getting arrested. So I ended up stabbing that dude. And around that same time I got busted with some meth, bro. It was heavy. It was like immediate. I mean, we was selling candy in elementary school. You know what I mean? Like my mom would go to Costco and we'd buy big bulk candy and bring it to school and sell candy. And I mean, it was just like started. And then we started selling weed in 7th and 8th grade. And then between 8th grade and 9th grade, one of my friends was like, bro, why are you selling weed? Your parents are the biggest drug dealers around here. And then I got involved with the meth. And
did your dad put you on?
Nah, by then, like my mom and my dad were split up. So once my mom and my dad were like split up to where my dad was living in his own place, me and my brother started getting real wild. My dad kind of kept us in check. It's like one of them things where I think back, like how would have things been if my dad would have been with us the entire time? You know what I mean? But it was just like, my dad was gone one time. My mom called us in the house and was like, look. So we're watching a little show on my dad's whole crime. So we're seeing my dad get arrested. They're talking about these gas station murder robberies. And it's like, bro, we're young. This was before they was officially split up. So then it's like they just planted little seeds. Now we know my dad's a gangster. I mean, we're already getting these kind of feelings just by how my dad carries himself and who my dad's around and all that. But then when they split, it was like we still wanted to be like my dad. And my mom was selling as much drugs, if not more, than my dad. So it was like, here, mom, can we get on?
Wow. Did she have a spot or did she sell out of your guys'
Our house was the trap house. Wow. It's crazy. And like on the way over here, I was going to bring up the fact that I think our house first got raided and it was obvious that we was drug dealers, bro, because we had our porch was gated off. Like you had to be buzzed in to our house.
Like it was an apartment building.
Like it was an apartment building. But I just wonder, man, like if the first time my mom's house got raided and the cops would have found something, if they would have like cut back, you know, like let us breathe a little more. But they raided, they didn't find nothing. They raided, they didn't find nothing. And these rats are leaving our house saying, the rats are leaving our house, getting arrested downtown saying, yeah, I just came from up there. They got dope or whatever. And they come up. But my mom had this damn safe built into her bathroom wall, bruh, that she kept everything in. So these cops was raiding our houses. And at the time, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but my sister had a friend whose dad worked for the fire department. So every time the police had to tell the fire department, just in case something big happened, like, hey, we're going to go raid this house. So you guys be ready or whatever.
You get tipped off.
So the son would he would tell his son, hey, don't go over there for a couple of days. The cops are getting raided. The son would come right over there and tell us, hey, the cops are coming. The cops are coming. Yeah. So we got away with it for a long time, bro. And I felt like that just pissed the cops off.
Sure. Who was raiding you? The sheriff?
The sheriffs, yeah. So,
did you ever have feds get involved, like with your parents?
The feds got involved when they came to arrest my mom on the Aryan Brotherhood indictment.
Okay.
But that was the only time.
So let me ask you this. What is the connection between the brand, the AB, and street outside, you know, street level drug dealing? We know that the Mexican mafia, La M, they're said to control from inside a prison the drug sales that go on the street. This is what they say. Is that similar to how the brand operates, or what is the connection between what became Fame, the family affiliated Irish mafia, the car that you rolled with, and the brand from inside a prison?
My mom and my dad is the connection. You know, my mom got arrested with them, went to federal prison on an indictment with the brand. So of course, everything that we do is going to be like affiliated with them. You know what I mean? And plus one of my cousins went to state prison and he was like in them circles. He wasn't Aryan Brotherhood, but he was buddied up with some of them. You know what I mean? So him being close with them and then my parents being close with them, it just like inevitably fell on our lap. You know what I mean?
Is the Aryan Brotherhood, do they have people on the street, or are they all in prison? And then they have people on the street like your mom who are helping facilitate, like, you know, drug transactions for the inside.
Yeah. Well, I would say, bro, that the majority of them dudes are in prison. It's just that that's the lifestyle that they choose. You know what I mean? If they're free, they ain't free for long. But I think that because of who they are, they could, I don't know.
Like, for instance, how was your mom? What was the case that they put on your mom? Like, how was she involved with the AB?
Forward and mail. So they were saying, like my mom was getting letters to do hits and forward them to the places that they needed to be.
I see.
So
your mom was like a middleman between the person carrying out the hits and the people who gave the order inside a prison.
yeah. But them dudes actually love my mom though, bro. You know what I mean? Like the prosecutor specifically told my mom's attorney, like the only reason why we really indicted her is because we wanted to spite TD and Barry. This is our way of like our revenge on them, because what else can we do to them? They've already got life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, we've done as much as we can to them. Now it's like the mental warfare. Here, let me attack somebody that these dudes actually care about.
Right.
So
how long did your mom go up for?
I think she was there they gave her 5 years, but then my mom got cancer at some point, and the doctors in there gave her like 6 months to live. So she tried to get the compassionate release, and it didn't work. So then her attorney went in front of her judge, and her judge gave her like just released her.
Oh, wow.
So
did she pass away, or did she? Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Both my parents passed away while I was in the feds in 2009.
Wow. Did anybody end up getting killed because of the letters that your mom was passing?
Yeah, but so according to the paperwork, the letter never got there. So somebody sent a message to somebody else and said, "Hey, did you ever receive the letter that the lady from the hill sent you?" And he said, "No, I never got it." But allegedly everything still went on. So
did she ever help the brand facilitate drug deals? Like, you know, in prison, the way most drug deals happen is, you know, I've got the drugs, I give them to you, and then you pay, your person on the outside pays one of my person on the outside. Do you think there's a connection there? Do you think that happens with fame and the brand?
I'm not sure. I would think that if anybody got reached out by them, they're going to do whatever they're asked. You know what I mean? It's just like one of them things where if you're out here balling out of control and somebody reaches out to you and is like, "I need some help." I mean,
wow.
I think the right thing to do would be to help.
It's amazing how much power they have with so few numbers. It's really amazing. And why do you think that is? You think it's because they're willing to kill?
Yeah. It's the violence, bro. Yeah. The violence, when you have violence on that high or on that extravagant of a level, everybody's going to pay attention. It doesn't matter who you are. You know what I mean? You could be the toughest person on the planet, bro. You're still gonna, that thought of the treachery of how brutal the murders are when the murders happen is always going to be somewhere in your brain.
Yeah. It's like beheadings practically.
Yeah, bro. But it's like, you have to be that violent, man. It's just like, this is war. You think people in Afghanistan and all these other wars that you just brought up, are they being friendly with each other? No, they hate each other. And that's like how it is in prison. You know, it's like taught hatred or something. Forced separation.
Did you have aspirations to be part of the brand when you were just a young teenager getting into the game?
I don't know. I know that, like, I wanted that reputation, bro. I wanted people to think of me like they thought of them dudes. And this was young, bro, 14, 15 years old. I was like, I want to be these pictures on the wall. I want to be that person when I come home, everybody's talking about him. You know, God, this dude.
So you talk about, you were fantasizing about coming home from prison and you hadn't even gone there yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
You knew you were going away.
Oh, I knew. Wow. I knew. I had a gang coordinator in San Quentin come up to me finally when he realized who I was. So I was with the Nazi lowrider, and we're walking into the chow hall, and the gang coordinator is a big black dude, and he goes, "Ralph Nash." That's the dude I'm with. And he goes, "Come over here." So I walk over because, you know, you don't want the homeboy to go somewhere with somebody else that's a cop. So we're sitting there, and he tells my homeboy, he's like, "I'm going to call you over here to take pictures of your tattoos or whatever in a couple of days." And then the dude goes, "You don't know who this is right here?" And then the dude looks at me and goes, "No, are you a skin?" And I told him, "Nah, I'm white." Because at this time, bro, I didn't even know what a skinhead was. I thought he was asking me if I was a Indian. I'm like, what do you mean am I a skin, bro? So I was all, no, I'm white. And he said, all right. And then the homie told him, man, you still don't know who this is. And the dude goes, where are you from? I said, I'm from Cocoa County. He says, you got it anywhere on you? I said, no. And he goes, and then the dude told him again, man, I can't believe you don't. He goes, what's your last name? Donahue. He goes, oh, Matty Boy. Wow. And I'm 20 years old, bro. And that little, that I would be lying if I didn't say that little bit of like recognition just sparked something, bro. But
and that reputation comes from your father,
from my mom's friends, from the people, from maybe other cats that were in fame that were running hard. You know, this, yeah, but he knew me. He was like, man, I've had people vouching for you to come to prison before you were old enough to think about prison. It was crazy, bro. It was crazy. Think
about that life, that it's an aspiration to have your son or your nephew go to prison.
Oh yeah. Well, to like, I don't think, like, my dad had been there. So I don't think my dad had those aspirations. Obviously, maybe he wanted me to be like a bad dude, but going to prison, I think that f***ed him up, man. It was like when I told my dad I was going to take 10 years in prison, he was like, man, I'm not going to make it that long. I'm not going to make it that long. So, but my mom, I think my mom was just like, she loved the lifestyle. You know what I mean? That power and all that that came with it. I think she was like infatuated with it.
She was deeper in the game than your father even.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're 13, 14, you start selling crank. Were you good at it? How successful did you get at that?
Oh man, I was horrible at it, bro, because I started using the drugs. So instead of like becoming successful or like having a lot of money, man, it was just I was a bad person, man. From like 13 to 20 years old, I was just an evil. I wasn't a good person to be around. You know what I mean? There was no business qualities to me. Like I was a scandalous person, man. I was strung out on drugs, and I'd do anything I needed to do to get them drugs.
During this time, did your mom go away to prison? At what age were you?
So my mom didn't. My mom did little county jail trips and all that. So then in 1997, they raided the house. They found 90 grams of meth, and they charged my brother with 30 grams, me with 30 grams, and my mom with 30 grams. So my mom, did some county jail time. My brother did county jail time, and I went to prison.
You went to state prison?
I went to state prison.
Where?
So I went to San Quentin, and then because it's a reception center, and then when I was waiting to be sent to wherever I was going, they sent me to Solano County Jail for another case because I had resisted arrest. A cop broke his leg. So my 2-year sentence went to 4 years. Wow. So, and then when I came home, it was like a different story, man. I was turned off by drug users, like dope fiends or whatever. It was just like, I thought I was better than that now. So I came home and I started working for a little while. Actually, I worked for, I don't know, maybe a year or whatever, but I started selling dope in the process of working. And then finally I got let go from my job and just was selling drugs completely.
Did you stay clean when you started selling?
Well, I was like, I would party. I would do coke.
Yeah.
I would drink, but I never, to this day, I haven't done meth since 1997.
So you must have been making money now that you're back not using your product.
Oh yeah. Now I'm making money. Now we're having fun. And it's just,
and is this crank or is this now Mexican meth?
It was still crank.
Still crank.
But then the like right before I caught my Fed case is when that crystal started like really popping. You know what I mean? To where if you had the regular crank, you probably couldn't even sell it.
Right. So, okay. So this new Mexican crystal is fire compared to the crank.
Yeah. And it's harder to cut. You know what I mean? It's just like,
because it's crystalled. It's already rocked up. So now you have smokers just going wild. Tell us about fame a little bit. So you're making money. I imagine you got a pretty high ranking or respect within the family affiliated Irish mafia. How many?
I was the one.
You were the daddy, the shot caller.
We started that.
How many people did you have?
We didn't have many, bro. It wasn't like, it was just like, I'd imagine, hypothetically speaking, say you lived in your little neighborhood and you had 20 friends that you grew up with your whole life, and slowly but surely your influence started influencing them. And before you know it, they're no longer normal cats. They're selling drugs with you. And the next thing you know, you got this little fame tattoo and they're like, well, what's this about? You know what I mean?
Wow.
And then one thing leads to another.
Yeah. And so everybody is making money, hustling, selling crystal.
Yeah.
What other kind of money-making activities does a little crew from Rodeo get into?
Anything that they had for sale, bro, I was trying to get into. Ecstasy. Then I started getting into the cocaine a little bit because everybody uses cocaine. And it's not like I feel like if you're selling cocaine, the majority of the time you're selling to people that are doing normal shit, bro, that just party on the weekends or whatever.
Market up.
Hell yeah. So, but
do you guys roll like bikers in the sense that, you know, you're highly organized, you bail out your brothers if they go to prison? Or...
I mean, we look out for each other and all that type of shit, but there was no structure to it. You know what I mean? We was just a bunch of knucklehead kids running around with our own name. You know what I mean? Instead of, you know, I don't know if you've been to the state prison, but our whole state is broken up into counties. Like, oh, the homeboys from Shasta, the homeboys from Cocoa. You know what I mean? So instead of us just being, oh, them are Cocoa boys, it's like we wanted our own thing. You know what I mean? So.
And so you guys now have an identity when you get locked up and go to prison. You're a somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever, while you were in state prison,
not to cut you off, it was never meant to be a prison thing. How it morphed into that is, I don't really know, but it was like, we were street guys, bro. You know what I mean? It was like, ultimately I knew where I was going, where I ultimately wanted to be, but I knew that like, there was gangs in prison that the other bigger gangs respected. You know what I mean? And that, like, at one point in time was where my mindset was. Well, like, these guys are going to respect us too one day. So
yeah. Okay. So you kind of wanted to have an identity. You didn't want to just be one of the brand. You didn't want to be like a soldier for the Nazi lowriders.
Exactly.
It's like, I got my own.
Yeah, it was. I'm telling you, it started with two arrogant kids. It just was like, nah, we're gonna be our own people. You know what I mean? Our own savages. We're gonna call a shot for each other.
Did you get into any violent crime? Did you ever while you were selling dope? Did you ever get robbed? Did it ever get real sticky?
Nah, I never got robbed, but the violence was everywhere, bro. The like, we thrived in violence. We was in the bars all the time, just being J-Cats, man. We loved the violent part of it. I mean, fortunately, only a few of us ever got murder charges, but I mean, I don't think we got the reputation that we got from just selling drugs.
Right.
You know what I mean? We was actually out there putting in work. We was J-Cats, man. We just we enjoyed everything about that lifestyle we was infatuated with.
Yeah. Right. This explains a lot about the entirety of that lifestyle, from the Hells Angels to the brand to fame. Yeah. Right. Where was your father during this time, after you'd already cleaned up and you were out selling dope, killing it?
My father was raising my little brother and my little sister. And
is he out of the game at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like my dad made a phenomenal turnaround at some point. You know, he like broke down to my little brother Devin and was like, you know, I'm tired of, because my dad got strung out on dope again. Like me and him was doing dope together. So, but then once I went to prison, at some point during those first 4 years, he got clean. And it was like, that fool was a phenomenal father. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't live in the best neighborhoods. He lived in Vallejo. And, but he raised my brother and sister phenomenally, man. He didn't, I mean, I was the bad influence to them. You know what I mean? Obviously, him bringing them to prison to visit me and all that type of shit. So I could see how they might look up to that lifestyle a little bit, but they played sports their whole lives. They got good they got good grades. It was just like, my father was a different person with them.
How did he turn it around? Was it just age and
probably maturity, man? It was he probably wanted to do right by the kids. You know what I mean? And then seeing what I was doing with my life, it was probably like he didn't want that for them kids. And my little brother was a phenomenal athlete. So it was probably just like gave him a lot to look forward to. And just like, it gave him a purpose. You know what I mean?
Right. So it was your mom that really held on to the lifestyle to the end.
My mom never let it go.
So when you were back on the street, was she away or had she gotten out of the feds at this point?
Oh, my bad. I didn't finish that story. So my mom, at some point after my state prison sentence, the feds raided my house and then busted my mom. So it was around this time that I caught my Fed case. So I got sentenced to 12 and a half years. My mom got sentenced to 5. Then she got sick, got the early release. So by the time I got home, both my parents were dead.
Wow. Horrendous.
Yeah.
Horrendous.
But you want to know the crazy part about it, man, is the that we grew up around every day, the betrayals, the lifestyle, the seeing my parents as best friends become their enemies and or become rats. And it just, bro, when your whole life is used to the nastiest parts of everything, you become like numb. So it was almost like I had to talk myself, and it might have been because I was in prison, but I don't know. But it was almost like I had to talk myself in to mourning the loss of my parents, bro. It was like, shouldn't I be feeling different? Shouldn't I be bawling my eyes out right now? It was weird for me, man.
Yeah. It's a life filled with constant disappointment.
Exactly.
It sounds like. When you were in state prison, were you clicked up with anyone? Who did you roll with during your first
my
bid?
Cocoa County homeboys.
Right. Okay. And how was that? How was this state bid?
It was lovely. We had too much fun, bro. Prison is not like what people think it is, man.
It depends where you are, but
yeah. But even then, the violence is isolated issues the majority of the time, bro. The rest of the time, they're being J-cats.
Yeah, getting high.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Selling dope.
You're doing the same thing you was doing on the streets, bro, minus the women.
Is that what you were doing?
Yeah.
You were getting into all that?
Yes, bro. I did it all. Like, even after I got 150-month sentence, when I first got to the feds, it was the same life, bro. So look, I know we're kind of traveling here, but I end up in the feds and I'm on a burner phone. I call my brother and I know my brother, there's something wrong with my brother. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you? And he's like, mom's cancer is terminal. She's got 6 months to live. And I'm on the phone, bro. And I'm like, man, I need you to complete this transaction that I already started this transaction. So I need you to finish it. This fool's just told me that my mom's got 6 months to live, bro. And he's like, what is your problem? And my brother don't ever like bash me for my choices. But that was like the one time where he was like, bro, what the you just got sentenced to 150 months in prison. I just told you our mom is dying and you're asking me to send money somewhere for some. He's all, what the when are you going to learn?
And how did that make you feel?
Bro, I just kept at it. I mean, it was like, I think probably it might've been my way of just like dealing with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the selling drugs, being involved with all the same I was involved with on the streets just made my time easier.
Yeah. Okay, let's back up for a second because this is great. I want to talk about that. How did you actually catch your long Fed case?
So
and what were the charges? How much dope were you moving? What did they have on you? You know?
So a friend of mine, now we all had this, I have to tell this story like this because I had 300 in 20 pounds of cocaine, which is 150 keys in the trunk. We got arrested in Utah near Park City. And the charge was, I think, distribution or whatever. And I got 150 months.
For cocaine. So you went up for coke, not
for
meth.
Coke. Yeah.
So 120 keys or something like
150
that?
keys.
150 keys. I mean, you could get life for that.
Yeah.
In theory. Are you just transporting that for somebody? Okay.
Yeah, so look it. So my partner hits me up, and every once in a while, this fool comes with like the best crank, the best crystal. Like whenever I bring this that was a little more expensive, but everybody liked it. They was like, I don't give a man. This is the stuff that we want. So I was telling my guys like, bro, I need a lot of this. And he was like, man, okay, I'm gonna get you. And he's like, well, what's a lot? I was like, 100 pounds. I don't know. I want a lot. I want enough to where the price switches in my favor to where it's not that I don't have the expensive dope. I just have the good dope. And he was like, I'm going to get you. So, one morning this fool hits me up and he's like, man, I need a favor. And I was like, yeah, what's up? You want to take a ride with me? And I was like, yeah, I'll take a ride with you. Where are we going? He says, out by Chicago. And he tells me like, this is going to be, this is going to open all the doors that you need open. You know what I mean? He says anything that you, and I lightweight didn't believe the dude. You know what I mean? I was like, man, this dude been talking about bringing me weight forever, bro. And ain't never came through on his promises. So, and, but I was, bro.
Who was your partner?
My co-defendant, John Kenter.
Okay. Another white guy from the neighborhood?
Yeah.
Why couldn't you have made your own plugs? Because it sounds like you had the clientele. You knew how to move it. Did you not have your own cartel
Mexicans,
sources?
Man, I didn't. So like the
you didn't click out. You couldn't have made those connections in prison. There was.
Well, in state prison, bro, when I went to state prison, my mom was the plug. And then when I came home, it transitioned from white people to Hispanics.
Right.
So it was like, and then before I could make that transition, I'm back in the feds.
Right.
So, and in between that little period too, I went on for a violation. So it was like,
I see.
The crystal trade, when it started, like when I could have got put into positions with people with a lot of weight, I was late.
Right. How much at this time when your friend asks you, he says, I've got this plug, what kind of dope were you moving a week? Like, what did your business look like? Was it a little bit of everything, or was it?
I mean, I think it was like when I got arrested, it was a little bit of coke and a lot of bit of crank, as much crank as we could get a hold of, bro. We was
interesting.
selling.
So there was a shortage on crank.
There was
Right.
Like this fool would be like, I could get you guys 11 pounds. And it's like, bro, we need 1,100 pounds. 11 ain't going to work. Okay, but we get 11 pounds. I mean, bro, you know how it is, the supply and the demand. If you have 1,100 pounds, you're going to get rid of 1,100 pounds. Wow. You're just going to have more people that want to buy it.
So you're selling wholesale now to dealers.
Yeah, like we weren't selling less than pounds or whatever, quarter pounds, half pounds. It wasn't like we was bagging up. So now I guess there's a shortage because it's getting harder to get the precursor chemicals from the pharmacies, right? Yeah. Yeah. Because now it was like everybody was relying heavily upon whatever was getting shipped to the States. Right. So now it's, you see the crank is dying. Crank is dead. Right. I had 8 pounds. When I got arrested, I had 8 pounds of meth, bro. And I don't even know how my people sold it. Just because it's not good enough. Yeah, just nobody wants it. It was like having dirt weed. Yeah, bro. And like I always talk like back in the crank days, I would get the crank and I would put water in it, like turn it back into an oil base, and then I would hit it with the acetone, and it would come back like almost crystally. It was like the closest thing that we had to crystals back then. Right. So people loved it. It's like, oh yeah, here, let me get all of this beautiful crank that you have. Right. But then the crystal comes, and that's like introducing indoor chronic to the market. Hell yeah. People get used to that, and they're like, I'm not smoking this stuff with stems and seeds because in it. Crank turned into like a smoker drug. So the cleaner you could have it, the better it was. When crank first came out, everybody was snorting it or shooting it.
Right.
And then everybody started smoking it. When the crank trade went bad, when people started smoking.
How so?
Because it just turned people into zombies. Because you used to be able to do a line of crank and stay up for 2 days.
Right.
Now you smoke it and you need it every 15 minutes. And these big ass clouds people are getting obsessed with. And it became a
just like crack.
Exactly.
Like crack.
And
Right.
it ruined anybody that was a smoker that was into meth. It just ruined.
Right.
So
you could have been a functional crank user back in the day, but when it became smokable, that's when
I think my father was a functional crank user. Like he'd be able to go out Friday night, do a couple lines with the guys, drink, and be good Monday.
Right.
You know, you start smoking it, it's just no stop.
So bringing us to 2009, you're a real player. Like if you got the connects to get rid of 1,100 pounds, like you got clientele.
But 2009, I was in prison already. I went to state prison in 2004. But before 2004, as much crank as I could have got, we could have moved.
Okay. But before, I'm talking about leading up to your Fed case. Okay, so it sounds like you kind of fell off after you came home from the state.
No, I didn't fall off. It was just there wasn't enough ever.
I see.
You know what I mean? I had big dreams, bro. I wanted to be that person that had hundreds of pounds of dope. You know what I mean? I didn't want to be selling 10 pounds.
Right. So you wanted to be you wanted to be a millionaire dope dealer.
Yes.
My man.
Yes.
My man. All right. Now we're talking my language. How much what was your height? What do you think you made? Did you ever touch 100,000?
Oh yeah. Like when I came home from my violation, I had made 100,000. I had 100,000 put to the side just in that little 6 months. But before the 6 months was over, I had that 100 grand stacked, bro. And it was just like I feel like I could have stayed home and just done well. But I was hungry, bro. Like I said, I wanted to do whatever I had to do to get to that plug that could.
Right. So you're looking to, be sitting on the weight that your buddy, your Cody, says that he's got. So this is an opportunity. I get this. So you think you're going to meet the Connect. So lead us in. Tell us what happened.
I'm just going to do a favor for the Connect. So we're taking a ride to drop something off. And then when we get back, I'm going to get blessed.
Right.
So it was just like a scratch my back. I'm going to scratch yours. I'm going to give you whatever you could possibly handle.
Okay. So walk us through what happened.
So my homeboy picks me up. We get to Reno and we stayed at the Hilton or something. We was on the borderline of Utah and Reno. So the cop pulls us over. We're going like 6 miles an hour with the speed limit. My bad, because I was driving like an idiot. But the cop pulls me out of the cop car and has me sitting in his cop car with him. And he's taking me on this fishing expedition. But finally he's like, "Where'd you guys stay?" And I was, "Oh, we stayed at the Hilton." And he was like, "All right." And the part that saved my life was, he says, "I'm going to issue you a warning for speeding and you're good to go. The traffic stop is over." But he continued on with the traffic stop, which saved my life and got me 12 and a half years, because otherwise it would have been probably my life. So they was scared to take it to the motion to suppress hearing and offered me me and my Cody.
Back up. I don't understand this. Are you dirty at this point? Do you have, I thought you were going to Chicago to bring the cocaine back.
No, hell no. We have the cocaine on us.
So you got 150 joints, 150 big ones
in the trunk, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
And okay, so you know what you're doing. You know what you're riding. Look,
I don't
with.
know. Yeah. I know that we have something.
So you're doing this on a favor. You're not even getting paid per kilo.
Nope.
Wow. Okay. Crystal clear now. Got it. So you get pulled over. You obviously look like gang members.
Yeah, but I look different back then. My Cody Finnett doesn't look like any kind of gang member. This looks like the old man next door, bro.
Yeah. Like
somebody you see in your driveway hitting golf balls or something.
Right.
You'd never be like, I mean, bro, these motherfuckers said 320 pounds. I was like, motherfucker, could have gave me that. Right. We didn't even have to take a ride.
Right. Wow. So you didn't know you had 150 bricks.
No. Bruh, the story's even crazier. I had a fake ID that looked more like you than me, and I was on parole. When the feds, after we got arrested, when the feds pulled me into the room to try to interrogate us, he was like, you have the right to remain silent. And I was like, why are you guys talking like this? Ain't I being arrested for being out of bounds on parole? You're being arrested for a substantial amount of narcotics. So,
okay. So, all right. You get pulled over. So are you on the Nevada side
No, we're in Utah.
Okay. So, you're on the Utah side. Wait. I thought you said you were by Reno.
Yeah, we left. We spent the night in Reno.
Okay. So you got out of this ticket. It was a routine traffic stop. It was just on a fluke. The cop, they weren't on you.
No.
This wasn't like a setup.
Nuh-uh.
Okay. So you make it through by the skin of your nuts. You spend the night in Reno.
I didn't make it through. He left me. Excuse me. So he left me after he told me I was good to go and went and talked to my co-defendant. My co-defendant told him we stayed at the borderline. There's a motel at the borderline called the Borderline. So he was like, your guys' story don't match up. He's saying you guys stayed at the Hilton. You said you stayed at the Borderline. And my co-defendant was like, the borderline of Utah. And then one thing led to another. And he was like, he asked my co-defendant, he's like, can I search the car? And my co-defendant told him, yeah. But that was the only part of the audio that was like you couldn't hear it. Like I asked my co-defendant when we was in the jail together, I was like, bruh, the did you tell him he could search the car for? And he said, I didn't tell him that. I told him specifically, no, but I'm sure you're going to do whatever you want to do. And then he went and searched the car.
And they found the drugs?
Yeah, they found the drugs.
Okay.
So our stop was over in Utah.
I see. Okay. Gotcha. All right. That's wild. So you guys get, thrown in the tank. Did you take it? So these motions to suppress, that's what basically gave you your plea deal?
It saved my life.
So they wanted to put you away for 30.
They wanted the prosecutor wanted to give me 20 years. Mm-hmm. And my attorneys are badasses from California, the Tony Serra and Randy Dar. They won't even represent snitches. These dudes are like the upper echelon of gangster attorneys.
Yeah.
But where was I going with that, man?
Too, people forget, if you go through a traffic stop and they write you a ticket or they say, have a nice day, and they keep talking to you, don't have to.
So, bro,
you can literally be like, hey, this is done. Like, I'm going to go on my way now. Like, they obviously don't have the right to search. Now, if you're on probation, I think they can make a call to your PO and get a warrant to search you.
But was your Cody on any kind of paper? No. So the whole traffic stop was illegal. So the prosecutor told my attorney, he was like, here's a 20-year deal. Like, he ain't going to get a better deal than this. And my attorney told him his family ain't going to let him take 20 years. It ain't. And my attorney told him, it ain't that I don't think this is a good deal. It's just a matter of one of them things that we're going to go to trial. We're not going to do 20 years or anything like that, because to him and his family, 20 years is life.
Yeah.
So my attorneys wrote up the rough draft motion to suppress hearing, and then they came back with the 10-year plea. But the 10-year plea, now, mind you, I've been in the county jail for almost a year by now.
Right.
So I know what these plea agreements are supposed to look like if they're legit. You know what I mean? So I went to page 6 or something, and in page 6, it says that I'm willing to cooperate in later times or whatever it said. I don't even know what it said, but I told my attorney, I said, I'm not going to take this.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, you guys are the only 2 people on your case. I said, I don't give a I'm going to be in prison for the next 10 years trying to tell everybody that wants to see my paperwork that me and my co-defendant signed the same plea. Right. It ain't going to work. Mm-hmm. And I don't want nothing that has my name associated with cooperating. Mm-hmm. I don't care about your view on it. This is my view. If me and my co-defendant are the only 2 people on this crime, and if we both sign the exact same plea with the exact same cooperation clause that won't hurt nobody, I still don't give a because it's saying that I'm cooperating with you guys, and I don't want that. Mm-hmm. So my attorney left flabbergasted, bro. This motherfucker was like, I can't even believe this is coming out of this dude's mouth. We're talking a 10-year deal from 20.
Yeah.
So the prosecutor, thankfully, came back and was like, we got a different one, 12 and a half years, no cooperation
clause.
no nothing. I was like, brush that.
And that's what your Cody took as well?
Yeah.
So did they try to lean on you guys to find out who
they tried to lean
was?
That one day, bro. The very first day when we got arrested, because the prosecutor dude, or the I think it was a DEA dude. I still remember him. Red hair, kind of a heavier set dude. Because my co-defendant went in there first. So then when I went in there, because I wasn't trying to be smug or like disrespectful with the dude, but when I was on my way out, when I told him I ain't got nothing I could tell you guys, and he was like, well, that was a lot better than how your co-defendant told me. I said, well, what did he say? He said, F you guys. I was like, fuck.
Either one works.
Same thing with different meanings, right? I can't tell you nothing. You so
hell yeah, you kept the game tight.
Yeah, but that was the only time, bro. I was surprised. They never once tried to come back and be like, are you sure you guys want to do this much time?
Well, trust me, if it was a guy that looked like me, they would have been like, listen, we know you got to get back to your nice family in Northeast Portland. You know what I mean? Like they looked at you, they looked at your track record, they looked at who your parents were, they looked at who your clique was.
Bro. So these actually, because my co-defendant told the prosecutor, he was like, he goes, I want to get more, my co-defendant told his attorney, my bad, that he wanted to take more time, like give him 15 years and me 6. However, so if we both had 12 years, he said he would take 18 to give me 6.
Right.
And the prosecutor was like, I don't have no problem with that, but I'm going to call the local authorities just to make sure that the story is believable. I want to make sure that when I go to my superiors, that they'll be like, are you sure this isn't just an old guy taking more time so the young guy could get back out there sooner and commit more crime?
Right.
And the local people said negative. If anybody's in charge, it's Donahue and the other guys along for the ride.
And you're like, no, actually.
So they was like, no, I wasn't talking.
Believe it or not.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, not this time.
Wow. So your Cody was trying to do the right thing.
Hell
he
yeah.
was like, he just came along. Like I asked him to do this. So let me talk about the motion to suppress. Did your lawyer take the illegal stop and the sketchiness of the search and say, hey, look, there's good evidence that this was illegal. You better give us a deal. Is that how he was able to get it down from 20 to 10?
Because listen, I don't know if you know about traffic stop laws, but they protect us. They're not in favor of the cop. Right. So this cop said that I was nervous, which is not a probable cause.
No.
He said that we had a map. We're driving across the United States and a map was, but all that aside, bro, this fool gave me a warning for speed and told me I was good to go. In order for that traffic stop to continue on, he has to get consent. So what he has to do is say, hey, Mr. Donahue, can I ask you another question? And if I say yes, then everything he does with the traffic stop is legit. But he never did that. He told me to wait on the side of the car and then went and continued on with the traffic stop that was over.
Without your consent.
Without my consent. I was driving.
How were you able to prove that he didn't have consent?
I was on audio. Wow. I was on, bruh, there's a video of me in his cop car getting handed a warning for speeding and told I'm good to go. So it wasn't like it was one of them things that it was my word against his. This was on video and audio. Like everybody I talked to once I got to prison was like, bro, you're crazy. But my attorney put it to me like this. He was like, bro, eventually you're going to beat this case. There's no way around it because it's cut and dry. This fool gave you a warning and told you was good to go. He told me specifically if I would have had marijuana instead of cocaine, I would have walked out that courtroom a free man because it was that cut and dry. There was no way for the cop to say, oh, I didn't say that. Oh, I didn't give him a warning for speeding.
We have it right here.
Right here.
Yeah.
Everything was right there. But my attorney was like, bro, I'm going to tell you my opinion. First of all, no judge is going to be in the newspaper tomorrow saying that he threw out 300 pounds of cocaine over a traffic law discrepancy. Right. So what he's going to do is just pass it on and say, you guys are going to figure this out in the appellate system. Right. So, and he goes, and how long is the appellate system going to take? At
least 5 years.
10, whatever, and then I'm going to end up in a penitentiary with a life sentence. What if I catch, it was like so many different
But don't you think because of how cut and dry the illegality of the search was, you could have taken it to trial and got a jury to get a not guilty verdict?
See, now I didn't know, even like you saying that, I don't even know how that works. Well, I thought once we got to the trial, the evidence is evidence, because if it's not, it gets thrown out at the
interesting
the suppression,
the motion to suppress. Interesting. Yeah.
So it wasn't at that point. I don't think it had been a matter of me arguing whether or not it was legit.
Right.
It was.
That's inadmissible.
Yeah. Like I don't even know how they would fight that case.
That's actually a really good point. Write in, fans, leave a comment. That's interesting. We just had a lawyer on last week. He would have been able to answer that. So your attorney was like, he gave you sensible advice,
bro.
Like,
yeah. So look at
here's
Tony.
Reality. Here's reality. That's a good attorney.
Yeah, hell yeah. Because look at Tony, Sarah, and Randy came up the week before and was talking to me about fighting this motion to suppress. Bro, their whole office was buzzing. I mean, obviously it's 300 pounds of cocaine, and there's a large possibility that we're going to beat the case. So Tony's in there animated.
Excited.
I don't know if you've ever like watched anything with Tony Sarah. The dude is like, he got YouTube up there, but he's like very graphic with how he talks. So he's jumping up and down and he's getting into it, and he's telling me, oh, your case is different than everybody else's. It's cut and dry. We're going to beat this. It's beautiful. This is what we live for.
So then what turned him?
Randy came up by himself the very next week, flew in from San Francisco to talk to me. He was like, hey, listen, I just want to play the devil's advocate here. I know that Tony probably has you hyped up, and they were sending me all kinds of legal work to go over because it was like similar to mine, and all these cases that were similar to mine, they were beaten. You know what I mean? So it was like, bro, but and Randy and Tony had known me my entire life. You know what I mean? I was going to Blair Guthrie's federal trial with them when I was 9 years old, the entire trial. You know what I mean? They wanted us there because it made him look like a good human being.
Who's Blair Guthrie?
Blair Guthrie is, he passed away, but that was one of the guys I looked up to, man. Blair was he was a biker, but he wasn't in any clubs or anything like that. He's probably got a reputation for being a meth cook. That's what he was in. That's what he was fighting the feds for, bro. This fool beat that case. I watched the case. He beat the case.
He beat a fed
beat
trial.
The feds
in trial.
In trial. It was the most, and
Not
mind
easy
you,
to
I'm
do.
young, bro. So being able to watch this, being able to watch that attorney just like win over these jurors, bro, it was amazing. But Blair and my dad were friends. Blair was the one that probably like eventually put my mom and my dad into a great position. You know what I mean? Blair's rest in peace, man.
So he sounds like he was the connect back in your parents' day when they were out there selling crank.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but Randy, point is, Randy came and he was like,
oh yeah. So Randy was like, man, I've known you my whole life. I've known you your whole life. I've been watching you guys grow up since you was this big. And he goes, and even though this is moments like this is why I became an attorney, because it's epic. You know what I mean? This is the moments that I live for. And he goes, but I don't want to do that at the expense of your life. Yeah. It was like personal with him. You know what I mean? And I understood, bro. And I didn't want to. It's like, fuck, do I want to gamble with my life?
Do you think if you had told the U.S. attorney that it was an illegal search, I'm not taking that plea, and the judge had passed on the motion, he said, no, we can't allow that illegal search. He would dismiss the motion to dismiss, whatever you call that. Do you think that plea deal would have been off the table? Like you couldn't have gone back if you had lost the motion and said, hey, actually, he'll take the 12 and a half?
No, because he specifically told my attorney, if he goes to the motion to suppress, I'm filing his 2 prior felonies and I'm going to give him a life sentence.
Right. So if you had gone to trial and blown trial, you would have got life.
Yeah. But the whole, all
and then
day.
You would have had to risk the appellate court.
Yeah. But exactly. But the only action we had was the motion to suppress. You know what I mean? It was like one of them things to where,
was that a hard decision to make for you?
No, because like in my mind, bro, I was like 10 years.
And doing a bid is nothing to you.
No.
Yeah.
So
and plus you're going to the feds.
And the feds, bro, my God. When we was where we was at, there the only thing that we didn't have was women.
Well, you can make a lady out of some of those good-looking boys in there.
Yeah, no.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but you know, some people do. But I wasn't,
of course.
I wasn't one of them.
Yeah, you got to be doing life if you're going to be busting some cheeks, you know?
You got to be doing, you know what, bro? When I got my, so I went to prison for the 2 years and I told my cellie, I was like, bro, ain't no way. I'm not letting no man ever touch my Johnson. I ain't got enough time for that.
Yeah,
right. And then I came back with 4 years and I was like, nope. Yeah. Maybe if I had 10 and I come back with 12 and I'm like, maybe if I had a life sentence.
All right. So you passed the test.
I passed the test. Yeah, no.
So, all right. So you cop out to 12 and a half. Where do you go?
I went to, the reception center for the feds is Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So then I went to Oklahoma for that little experience. And then I went to FCI Tucson.
All right. So that's a real penitentiary.
No, the USP Tucson.
Oh, is the bad one.
Yeah. But
FCI
that's like a sex offender place or something over there.
Is it? I know they had kingpins there. Maybe they changed it. It's always changing. I don't know though. But FCI, so you were at a medium.
Well, some of them penitentiaries, I'm sure them kingpins, a lot of them kingpins ain't violent dudes.
No.
So they could go, you know
That's
what I mean?
true.
They go
That's
anywhere
true.
they want to go.
That guy, Little Daryl from the Bay, he was a crack kingpin from Oakland.
Yeah.
He was at Tucson. His son actually made it to the NBA, but he's doing life at, I think, USP Tucson.
Yeah.
So USP, for people who don't know, are maximums. They're maximum security prisons. USP, United States Penitentiary. An FCI usually is like a medium, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you were at a medium in Tucson. So tell us about that.
Bro.
Federal prisons are fascinating. Please, I'm intrigued to hear your experience there. Who did you roll with, first of all? It's not.
I'm a white boy everywhere I go.
Yeah.
So, but like when I was in Arizona, I was real tight with the Islanders, like the Samoans and the Hawaiians and the Tongans and like that. I think that little bond even started in the county jail in Utah, because in the Bay Area, we didn't like, I never really associated much with Islanders. We didn't have very many, but then when I went to Utah, they have like a strong presence there.
Yeah.
So then I started, like becoming cordial with some of the Tongans there, and the Islanders are just good people, man.
They're friendly people.
They are friendly
even the
people.
gangsters. It's
exactly.
part of their culture.
And they got that little, they flip the switch and turn into psychos when they need to, but they're just good people, man. And that was the kind of people that I was drawn to, man. So like in FCI Tucson, I was really tight with the Islanders, but I still ran with the white boys.
And who in a medium, who are the white cars in federal, like medium security prisons? The lowriders? Nazi lowriders?
No, I would probably say like the skinheads or something. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see very many Nazi lowriders.
Is there any influence of the brand?
I think there's always an influence of the brand everywhere you go. Like they locked anybody down throughout the whole Bureau of Prisons during the sentencing phase of the Aryan Brotherhood trial. I don't know, because they thought they was going to give them the death penalty. Right. So they got scared that anybody that knew them dudes was going to kind of like start if they gave them the death penalty. So they locked down every single person that had any kind of ties to them dudes. And there was only 4 of us on the yard that ended up in the hole.
Wow. So,
and one of them was an Indian.
Wow. This is recent too, right? This was in the last 5 years or something?
No, this was 2006-ish, maybe 2000. Okay. It was whenever that first trial, because they have another trial going on, right, or another court case.
I meant the federal trial. I meant I'm not like there's the brand has a presence in state prisons, but it's usually just California and Texas. But in the feds, they're all over the country.
Yeah.
So at FCI Tucson, what were the white boys? You said it was the skinheads. Did you get into dope dealing when you were in there?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was dope dealing immediately.
How does that look in prison? Like how did it work?
Like how did we get it, or what do you mean?
All of it. Yeah.
We didn't get from the cops, bro. The majority of the time the was getting if it's getting flown in, you know, or thrown over the fence.
Drone?
I don't know if we don't want to expose that, right?
Are there any drone action?
Nah, but bro, we was getting balls thrown over that fence this big.
In tennis balls?
In softballs, bro. Tennis balls was a small ball. We was trying to get pounds thrown at cell phones. Bruh, like at one point, dog, I'm sitting in my cell. No, I'm sitting in front of my cell. So my cell was on the top tier and my homeboy's cell kind of went back to like the access of the roof. So it was kind of like in a cubby hole. So this one of these big moves, the cops said somebody snitched on us. Somebody's throwing shit over the fence. And then they said, and the white dudes walked into Mesquite, our unit. So I'm sitting on this top tier being the point man, and the cop comes in and he looks up to me and says, "Don't move." And he's just doing this. And the next cop goes walking up, and these dudes on the other side of the TV room are tattooing. So they see him in there jumping around and thinking they're doing something. So they raid their house. And meanwhile, we're over here with the mother load, bro. That's how it was like that close.
That close to being caught with a ball of dope.
We had a pound of weed in that heroin, cell phones, bro. We had it all in room. But we didn't have no choice. I mean, we didn't think somebody was going to snitch on us 4 seconds after we come in the yard.
Right. Holy.
No, dude, I'm telling you, that's
real.
We tried to have
jail.
that like it was the streets, bro.
So you were moving product. You were eating.
We were doing good in that place, bro.
How much were you making off of selling dope in prison?
Well, bro, honestly, in those level facilities, it doesn't last long because people are telling on everybody. Yeah. It was like it wasn't like as beneficial as you would think, especially on that yard, man. We just was able to have fun. Party. It was like, bro.
But how do you pay for a pound of dope though? It's still not free.
Oh, I know, but we have our people out there. Somebody goes home that we tell the whole rundown with. You know, this is when we call and tell you to go here, homie, you just go. Don't ask why. You know what I mean? We don't want to be all long-winded on the telephone and all that type of stuff. And these people are bruh, these fools are getting Bammer weed. Yeah. So it ain't like it's some big ass they're smoking toothpicks in there and getting high. Yeah. And they don't care about the weed. You're not going to have a pound of chronic thrown over the fence because at that time it was probably $4,000 or something. Now it's different.
But you still got to turn a profit. You got to have, you still got to pay for it.
It was like,
were you using cash or were you trading?
I mean, we was doing the stamps thing. Yeah. You know, everybody does stamps, but a lot of times we'd have street to street. You know, when your people come and visit, you have your people send you money. Yeah. And mainly, bro, it was just to where we could sit on them the computers all day and do whatever we want. Yeah. Excuse me, talk on cell phones. I mean, bro, that I tell all the guys that we was in that institution with, there will never be another group or another way that a prison was ran the way we had that ran. Bro, I had guys telling me after I left, they was like, dude, cops was pulling us over talking about Matty ain't here no more. You guys ain't getting away with this. We're putting a stop to this. Bro, we had it. It was like no matter how much I hype up how good we had it in that institution, it could never compare to actually how well we had it.
Wow. Do you think you had it on lock compared to the other races?
Oh yeah. Wow. Bro, these fools look it. So
white boys know how to bid.
Bro, so I went in to get put in for a transfer to go to a drug program facility. And this was like a Saturday. So I'm like, my counselor calls me over there. I'm like, yeah, I want to go to Oxford, Wisconsin for the drug program. And he's like, you're from California. I said, well, I got an address right here. And I gave him an address to some house for sale that I found or had my brother find. So this is Saturday. So Sunday, Monday, he's off. Tuesday, this fool comes in and says, you're designated. And I'm like, you're kidding me. So I go in there and I'm talking to the food administrator. And he's like, I'm actually surprised it took that long. I'm surprised they didn't get rid of you a long time ago. He goes, they hold you responsible for every bad thing that happens on this yard. You, one person. If the black dudes got dope, they or trying to throw you in that mix somehow. Somehow you made that happen.
But you never got popped with any dope.
Never.
Wow. Thank God.
Never.
Do they usually charge people, like, at what level of quantity inside of prison do they give you another charge for, in your estimation?
Bro, I think it depends. I mean, I think they
Depends on what
always,
drug, too.
yeah, they probably always send that out.
Yeah.
And then, bro, but like at the end of the sentences, people were getting more money off tobacco. So
Yeah.
like that total markup on tobacco kind of took over the drug trade,
Right.
because you could buy a $10 bag of tobacco and sell it for $1,000.
Crazy. Bro, guards are driving
People
new
are-
trucks.
oh, yeah,
and bro,
yeah.
It's wild. It's
Man,
wild.
everybody started. I
and
think
it's not even a new charge. It's not even a new dope charge. It's just a whole shot.
It's contraband.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you go to the hole, you might not even go to the hole for
Yeah.
no tobacco.
Exactly.
But
yeah. Wow. So you really had it good in there.
bro, state prison too. State prison. We had, me and my cellie had boxes under the bed of food, and we had irons to cook our food on. And
Wow.
bro, we had.
Do you have it better in prison than you had it on the streets?
Like
I mean, seriously.
it was easier, bro.
Yeah.
If that's what you're asking. For me, prison was easy. I came home and was shoved into the reality fast. And you're talking, I was 37 years old before I had to pay car insurance, mortgages, and anything like that, bro.
Yeah,
So-
you were the scariest kind of dude to be around in prison. Somebody was like, look at how much fun we're having.
Oh, yeah.
And that would make me like say, Mitchell, you got to get the out of here. Stat. And hit the ground
do not
running.
associate with this guy.
Yeah, just because like I would feel like such a loser. Like I would be so terrified that I was going to become that.
Yeah.
Because I did notice it start to get kind of comfortable, like the longer and more used to it I got. So I had to remind myself, like, no. You're going to get out of here and make something of yourself.
Yeah.
So I had to consciously like train my mind.
Oh, yeah. Well, you
'Cause
probably
it's
had a
scary.
business attitude before you went there.
Of course. Yeah.
I
I should
was
have
just-
been in the feds. I should have been around businessmen, you know?
Yeah.
But I
Well, you
was
could have
around
made all
gangsters.
the right plugs, bro.
I know. That's the other dangerous thing though, is I had people like, hey, when you get out, here's my number.
It was different. Like the state, that never happened. In the feds, whole different story.
You just make connections.
Them guys
everywhere.
are like, yeah. And then they see how you carry yourself, or you're different than these other cats, man. Like I seen people go up to the cartel dudes and be like, hypothetically speaking, if somebody had $100,000, what could we make happen? And this dude was like, nothing, motherfucker. I work with metric tons. You're over here talking about $100,000.
Yeah.
And he said that in a room full of everybody, bro. I was like, God damn. Yeah, I ain't never bringing up $100,000 like it's nothing.
Right. Yeah. So you get out, you go to the drug program.
I went to the drug program in the RDAP. So the feds have that little RDAP program that gets you a year knocked off your sentence.
Right.
So I went to that. Then I came home.
How long did you spend your whole stretch at Tucson?
No, then I went to Wisconsin for the RDAP program.
I see. Okay, got it. So, but the majority of your time was in Tucson.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So you didn't have to move around, which is nice.
Yeah.
Moving around is the worst. So how long did you do off at 12 and a half?
10.
Okay.
So I got arrested in September of 04, and October of 04 I was released into probation.
October of 14.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Wow, 10 exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you came home. Where does the rap come in?
So I've always loved rap, bro. And I know that it seems like I'll have people in my comment sections like, man, stop faking who you are or whatever. I'm like, I'm a white boy, bro. And I've grew up listening to rap. So what the do you want me to what kind of music do you want me to make? Country? Is that not like doing what they're saying I'm doing by being a rap artist? Like I'm faking? So if I'm not from the country, how do I go make country music? You know what I mean? I'm from the Bay Area, bro, where everybody listens to hip hop. And I just love rap music. And honestly, bro, before, like when I was in Wisconsin, I never thought I was coming home. You know what I mean? Because of all the fame that was going on while I was incarcerated. Like murder cases were happening. My best friend went into the witness protection, you know, so I was like, And, you know, the feds are famous for waiting until the last minute to come and pick you up and then add more charges because why would they come early?
Right.
So this whole time that I'm in Wisconsin, I was just miserable. It was the worst time I'd ever done, bro. And it was the end of my sentence.
Wow. And so you assumed you were going to get roped in.
I assumed that I was never going home.
Wow.
So
when did you start rap? Did you start rapping when you were inside?
I started writing.
Okay.
So while I was there, the only thing that like brought peace to my mind, bro, was writing. And I would write like spoken word type shit because I didn't know how to write onto a beat. I wish I would have, because at that time they had the little MP3s that I could have been downloading rap beats to and writing and all that. So I was just writing with no music involved. It was just like writing gangster poetry every day, bro. I spent hours and hours and hours just writing.
Wow.
And then my brother had tried to get us into rap a long time ago as probably a way out or whatever. And I mean, both of us just love rap, bro. But so I came home, I had a couple kids. My kids' mom was fucked up on alcohol and prescription pills. So we ended up, like, I kicked her out. I moved in with my brother, and then I started making music. We went to some crack house, bro, one time, and I learned how to write to the beat, to whereas before it was like, okay, I'm going to write this song, and then I'm going there with the producer and he's going to have to punch me in every line. You know what I mean? It was but then once I taught myself, it's like this, bro. The only thing up until I was 37 that I thought that I could do well was sell drugs. It was my comfort zone. You know what I mean? So then once I started being able to write and realized that I actually could write music, bro, it changed my life.
Yeah.
It would like, I mean, you got to imagine you never being able to ride a bike and you jump on that bike and realize that you could ride that bike like you're good at it.
So you had a knack for it pretty much right away.
Yeah. And it makes me feel as close to the game as I want to be. You know what I mean? It's like I could talk about all my experiences. I could relive all the crazy that I went through my music.
Right. It's kind of like being an Alcoholics Anonymous. You get to talk about the old days.
Exactly.
So you don't have to go back to them.
Yeah, but you know what? I never looked at that like that.
That's why I do this podcast.
That's a clever way of viewing that, man. That's dope. But yeah, that's why I love the music.
Yeah.
It keeps me sane, bro. You know what I mean? Like my mind is one of those minds, man, that just like if I don't have something constantly to look forward to or like keep my brain busy, it starts doing the worst things that it can do. You know what I mean? I get right back to starting from scratch. And before you know it, I'm looking for a bag. And
so you've been rapping for 10 years.
I've been rapping for 5. I didn't start when I first came home.
Oh, wow.
So this was like 5 years ago.
Oh, so you're doing well for how new you are.
Yeah.
You know?
But I mean, and that's another thing. I feel like because of the street credibility, like, it's easy for people where I'm at to be like, this dude is not bullshit. And, you know, in rap music, the authenticity
of course
flourishes.
Yeah. And that was, I couldn't go be a gangster rapper. You know, it just wouldn't sell.
Oh yeah. And bro, I've tried to ask my producer one time. I was like, bro, I need you to get in here because this fool, like his ability to do hooks and all that type of shit is dope. I was like, go in there and talk about some gangster shit for me. And he was like, I can't go in there and talk gangster shit, bro. I ain't never lived that life. And I respected it. I was like, bro, this is music. Doesn't matter. I don't want to do that. I was like, all right.
No, but it's like in your videos, you guys are pointing guns and you can tell them are real and you got the Irish flags draped over you. Like it's a brand. Yeah. It's a really good, you see how with just a little more exposure, like you're going to hit something.
Yeah.
You know, it's real good rap. And you don't rap like traditional Bay Area rappers, I don't think. You know, obviously E40 is invented like the fast rap, like the soliloquies and the syllables.
Your head like a
exactly. You're not using that, so you're not derivative, which is great. You want to be your own person. But like, who were your Bay Area
Mac Dre,
of course, right?
Period.
Of course.
That's my only Bay Area.
Yeah.
Bro, when I went to prison in 2004, there was no debate. There was no who is the man.
In 2000, he was the biggest Bay Area. He was a Bay Area legend before he got killed.
Yes, bro.
Yeah.
When I was in the Utah County Jail and people were telling me they didn't know who Mac Dre was, bro, I thought these were aliens.
Square.
I'm like, what the
Yeah.
how the do you not know who Mac Dre is, bro? And
Did you ever know him from the street or anything? Wow.
No, unfortunately, nah. But my entire life was in jail, bro.
Yeah.
From the time I was 20 to 37, I had 2 years free. So it was just like, I was always.
Was it hard to stay away from the dope game when you first came home?
Yeah, bro. Imagine having everything you want, coming home and have to drive for Uber.
Right.
You know what I mean? That hurt my pride, bro. I was sick. Believe me, there was many nights that I sat and to this, like I had one of my homeboys that passed away from Ohio, and bro, I know that this fool was a hustler. And I was like, let's focus this energy somewhere else. So we started trying to do like home flips or whatever, but he passed away in a car accident before that could happen. But I know that direction was going to go from that thing to the other direction, bro, because I was needing it. He was needing it. It was just like, we was starving for that hustle.
Yeah.
So, I mean, bro, it was every night when I came home for the first 2 or 3 years, I wanted to sell drugs, bro.
And you're in the perfect environment for it. You're back in your old squalor.
But this was my first time coming home, bro, where everybody wasn't selling drugs. You know what I mean?
So what had changed?
My brother was working in the refineries. My sister was doing teeth. So it wasn't like previous. So like, it's hard to come home and do right when you come home and everybody's doing wrong. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? You're seeing everybody have money and doing whatever they want. And you're getting up at 5 a.m, going to work every day, struggling. So
what do you think was different? Do you think it's because everybody used to roll
my kids?
Right.
My kids, bro. My son, Matthew, bro. I'd lay in there and I'd be like, man, how am I going to do this? If I go to jail and I got to like raise this kid, and I knew that they wanted me. You know what I mean? My probation officer made it clear. He's like, bro, we're going to watch you for the rest of your life just because of the amount of drugs you got busted with. It's just there is always going to be that constant. So it was like, how do I do this? How do I tell my homeboy, okay, I'm going to get a burner phone? And I don't know. It was just like, but laying in bed at night, bro, I thought about my son. And I was like, I don't want to be away from this little rascal ever. And this is going to keep me away for forever. And the next time it ain't going to be like, oh, let's try to figure out a way to give you 150 months because the traffic law was up. It was.
Yeah. It was like you turn yourself around like your own father turned himself around.
Yeah, exactly. For my kids, bro.
Do you think your mom being gone helps keep you away from the game?
Bro. So when I got to the halfway house, I didn't know how to use the cell phone, like the MapQuest thing or whatever. We was still on the Nextel 2004 hit where you at or whatever the it was. So I go, they give me these little directions on how to get to the meetings I have to go to, and I got lost. So I'm downtown madder than a hornet, bro. And I called my sister. I said, I'm done with this. I don't know how to ride public transportation. You know, I don't know how to do any of this. I'm over it. I don't want to do this no more. And I know that if my mom was home, my mom wouldn't have been like, call Clint, my sister's husband. And I call my sister's husband. He's like, bro, you got directions on your phone. Relax. It's not that serious. He's like, call the drug counselor and explain the situation. And, and this was like 2 weeks in, 2 weeks of being free. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do this no more. Wow. So if my mom would have been home, bro, I think it would have been different. Yeah. Unfortunately. And I don't want to like make my mom out to, my mom was a beautiful person, bro. Took in people. She was just, my mom had a good heart, but she, like my dad corrupted that woman's mind and she just ran with it.
What happened to your mom's old gang, her old people that you used to see growing up?
Man, they all passed away, like,
or locked up.
Yeah.
Did you see anybody around you get life?
Oh yeah, my cousin got life. Bro, all kinds of people I grew up around are spending their whole lives in prison
over murders.
Murders, yeah.
What is Rodeo like today?
Oh man, Rodeo is just not what it used to be, bro. It's like
But what
a bunch of homeless people. It's just like it's not Rodeo no more, man. It's just like I don't know if you could figure out a place down here where it's just like you go there and it's just homeless people are everywhere, and I don't know. It's just like places are shutting down that have been there forever, and it's just like, even though they try to change it and put like little fancy things in front of the in like road dividers, and it's just not the same, man. It's like,
well, it doesn't sound like it used to be. I mean, you grew up in a gang meth infested place. I mean, is it worse than that?
Yeah, it's worse because now it's like it's ran down, bro. When we was growing up, it's like the crank hadn't just devastated the town.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like an isolated issue where these guys up here were selling drugs and you had the projects was doing whatever they was doing, but like where else?
Right.
Wasn't like you had big drug dealers in Viewpoint. You know what I mean? So it was just like, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's kind of crazy because I felt like my dad controlled a lot of the ignorant, you know what I mean? Like tweakers and all that type of shit wouldn't even come up to the neighborhood. They'd be scared of my dad.
Right.
So
yeah, because crank smokers or users weren't tweakers.
Yeah.
Now it's all
now
tweakers.
they're tweakers.
Right.
So it's everything has changed, man. So it's like if I was from anywhere, I'm sure it would be like, oh, this is just different now. Especially after you come home. And I was in Oakland in the hills for 7 months, or my halfway house, and it was actually nice out there.
That's
so then I go to
the Oakland Hills
Rodeo, and I'm like, what the
yeah.
This doesn't even seem like the town that I remember as a little kid.
Yeah. Wow. What a fascinating story about like small town America, even though it's part of this like huge urban rich place. Like it's a different world. It's the other side of California.
Yeah.
People think Cali and they think the beautiful coast. They think San Francisco, Hollywood, San Diego, surfers. But then you go enough inland.
Not anywhere outside of California.
Right. But then you go enough inland, man. Just 40 miles inland, and you have a different world, bro.
Yeah. When you get like in the feds, bro, and you tell people you're from California, you're the person that they want to know.
Right.
Hold on, bro. You're the connect.
Right.
We want to get to know you.
But what a fascinating story. We've never had anyone like you on here, man.
That's dope.
So look, you're the real deal, Matty Boy. Shout yourself out. Tell the people where they can go find your music.
Man, look for me, Matty Boy, everywhere. On some of the social medias, it's like Matty Boy 417 because Matty Boy's already taken. But like streaming, YouTube, everything, it's Matty Boy.
Hell yeah, dude. That's what's up. Are you play live shows?
Yeah, I just did my like the biggest live show I've done so far like a month ago. But it's kind of hard, bro. Like my following and the majority of everybody else's following in the hip hop community is kind of it's kind of different. You know what I mean? I got a bunch of crazy white boy bikers and all this come to the show. It's
well, look, that's the niche. So just start from there, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how all the Bay Area rappers, Too Short was selling out, tapes out of his trunk.
Yeah.
So you just got to get that E40 feature, man. We got to figure out how to do that. I see that one cat had the 49ers anthem song.
Oh man, bro, that blew up
right?
too. My homeboy is the one that recorded that video.
Yeah, that's your people sent it to me.
Yeah.
And he had 40 on there and the whole Bay is loving it.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And like that's why the Bay Area is cool, is because you can actually get on and kind of blow up just from local support.
Well, and my partner Vidal, who works close with Cosmo, Cosmo's like a producer that's got songs with Benny the Butcher and like classic. He works on Burner's albums all the time. So I've got like associated with certain people like that through other people. And I think in the Bay Area my name is vibing right now, so it ain't gonna be too long before.
Keep pushing, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, that's dope. All right, Matty Boy. Well, we're gonna switch over, talk on the Patreon for a little bit and then get you out of here. But it was a pleasure.
Yeah, likewise, man.
Thank you,
had
brother.
a good time.
Hell yeah, me too. Peace out, guys.